I was at the most popular girl's house, tutoring her younger brother. My online girlfriend sent me a message. Babe, my mom found a tutor for my little brother. And get this, the tutor is one of my classmates. He's so annoying. What a coincidence. Could it really be that coincidental? I looked at Chloe Anderson in front of me, who was fiddling with her phone, and felt a little puzzled. That guy is so obnoxious. I don't like him one bit. Chloe was still looking down, her hands tapping away intently on her phone. I was too stunned to reply to the message. It couldn't be this much of a coincidence, could it? Even though I did find my online girlfriend through the people nearby feature. Ethan, can you please focus on teaching my brother? Stop looking at your phone all the time. Chloe saw me on my phone and was clearly annoyed that I was slacking off while on the clock. Right, my bad. I reluctantly put my phone down. She looked down and continued texting, and immediately, my phone started vibrating like crazy. Seriously, you tell me not to use my phone, but then you keep messaging me? I looked up and my eyes met her slightly irritated gaze. I quietly switched my phone to silent. Thankfully, she didn't seem to notice anything was off. I still couldn't believe that the girl I'd been dating online for so long was the most popular girl at Ashton University. Chloe was only wearing a short, silky nightgown, an annoyed look on her face, making it clear she couldn't stand the sight of me. Her figure and looks were exceptional, and her long, slender, pale legs were crossed under the table, completely capturing my attention. The scent of her expensive perfume washed away the last bit of academic knowledge from my brain. I nearly forgot the steps to solve the problem. Ethan, can you check if I did this problem right? Leo excitedly handed his workbook to me. I glanced at it. He had indeed followed the steps I taught him one by one. He's very bright. I only needed to teach him one problem, and he could extrapolate to understand all similar questions. I nodded in satisfaction, unable to resist praising him. You're a really fast learner. That's fantastic. Are there any other topics you're stuck on? I glanced at the clock and realized I'd already been here an hour over our scheduled time. I probably wouldn't get paid for this initial trial session. As I calculated the loss, I felt my heart ache. Leo was definitely smart. He probably just hadn't been paying attention in school, which is why he needed intensive tutoring now. Nope, I'm good. Thanks. Ethan, you're a great teacher. The door opened, and Chloe's mother walked in with an elegant smile on her face. I had to admit, her mother was a stunning woman herself. Otherwise, she wouldn't have a daughter as striking as Chloe. Leo, how was your lesson with Ethan? Did you understand everything? Yeah, I got it all. Ethan is an amazing teacher. He's so gentle when he talks, really patient, and he's super handsome too. So I really think we should hire him. Leo nodded emphatically, showering me with endless praise. I kept a straight face, but inside, I was ecstatic. So, I couldn't resist sneaking a glance at Chloe's expression. In stark contrast to Leo, Chloe's expression grew darker and darker, and she was gripping her iPhone 15 Pro Max so tightly it looked like it might shatter. All right then, her mom said. I've never seen you this happy with a tutor before. We'll have Ethan teach you from now on. Leo was so happy he practically jumped for joy. Chloe's mom was very kind. She checked her phone. Ethan, it's getting so late. Why don't you just stay over tonight? You and Chloe go to the same university, so you two could just head to campus together in the morning. It would be much more convenient that way. Hearing this, I subconsciously shot a guilty look at Chloe, only to lock eyes with her. I quickly waved my hands in refusal. Oh no, that's okay, Mrs. Anderson. I have to get to the hospital. And please, you don't have to call me Mr. Ethan. Just Ethan is fine. Mrs. Anderson looked disappointed. You're so mature. At your age, my Chloe is always throwing fits. I glanced down at Chloe and happened to notice that the collar of her nightgown had slipped down. I could faintly see the top of her cleavage. My eyes widened. Just as I was getting an eyeful, a hand shot up and pulled the neckline back into place, blocking the view. I looked up, and once again, my eyes locked with Chloe's. Her face, usually as radiant as a pearl, was now flushed with a mix of crimson and anger, making her even more captivating under the bright light. But I didn't dare to keep looking. I was afraid that the moment we were alone, Chloe would tear me limb from limb. I had to get out of there. Mrs. Anderson was still oblivious to the fact that I had just inadvertently offended her daughter. Oh, I see. City General Hospital is pretty far from here. Why don't you let Chloe drive you? I was about to refuse, but her mom had already pulled Chloe to her feet. Sweetheart, did you not hear me? Go on and give Ethan a ride. Do you have any idea how difficult it is to find a tutor your brother actually likes? Chloe very reluctantly grabbed the keys from the table. It was a physical key fob with a prancing horse emblem on it. A Ferrari, of course. The Anderson family's wealth was legendary at school, a mansion in the most expensive downtown district, and she drove a Ferrari to campus every day. Those two facts alone were enough to scare off almost every guy at school who had a crush on her. I said goodbye to Mrs. Anderson. The second the door clicked shut, a chill shot straight up my spine. You're a pervert. How dare you call yourself a teacher? I had actually been planning to apologize, but her opening words completely shattered that thought. How am I a pervert? I feigned innocence, showing not a shred of remorse. You kept sneaking glances at my legs. Don't think I didn't notice. I even had to pull my nightgown down. Chloe was a good head shorter than me, so when she argued with me, she already lacked a certain presence. All of a sudden, I got the urge to tease her. Oh, really? Well, in that case, I should thank you, Chloe. If you hadn't pulled it down, I never would have seen the view up top. Chloe's expression instantly shifted from confusion to embarrassment and finally morphed into pure rage. Ethan, you absolute pervert. I will not let you be my brother's tutor. She looked like she was about to jump up and hit me, but her movement was cut short by the sound of the door suddenly opening. It was her mom. Her shout had brought her mom back out. Chloe, why haven't you started the car? Ethan's in a hurry. Chloe's mortified anger transformed into a death glare directed at me. You stay right here and wait. I'm getting the car. Watching Chloe's retreating back, I wanted to fall to my knees and thank her mother. She had saved me. As soon as Chloe disappeared into the underground garage, I finally had a chance to check the messages from her. The chat was still open from a few minutes ago, with the last message being a cute, flirty sticker she had sent. I scrolled up through our conversation. Babe, why aren't you answering me? He wasn't even teaching my brother properly, so I gave him a piece of my mind. Seriously? She had to tell someone about that? I used to think it was sweet that she shared everything with me, and her occasional playful complaints were cute. But I just couldn't bring myself to connect my online girlfriend with the Chloe Anderson who clearly had it out for me. A new message popped up. It was from her. Babe, when can we finally meet? I promise I won't disappoint you. I didn't know why, but Chloe had been bringing up meeting in person a lot lately. Thankfully, I'd held my ground so far. Otherwise, the consequences would have been disastrous. No way, I'm super ugly. Let's just skip meeting up. Babe, you finally answered. What were you doing? She tells me to wait here, but instead of getting the car, she's just sitting there texting? I was annoyed, so I replied curtly. Just got chewed out by some idiot. I'm a little pissed off. As soon as I sent it, the typing indicator popped up on her end. What kind of idiot would dare talk to my babe like that? I almost burst out laughing when I read that. I'd never seen someone curse themselves out before. My mom is making me give that classmate a ride. I'm so not doing it. I'm just going to take a nap in the car. He's a total pervert. I'm sure he's got bad intentions. I knew Chloe wouldn't let me off the hook that easily. Why do you have such a big issue with your classmate? I was basically asking a question I already knew the answer to. Anyone with eyes could see Chloe had a problem with me, and I had a pretty good idea why. A moment later, Chloe replied, because he talked trash about me behind my back. Of course, she still hadn't forgotten about that. Back during the pandemic lockdown, our university campus was closed for a while. All our classes were held over video conference. It was my first time using that particular conferencing software. I just remember seeing the microphone icon with the words unmute below it and a red slash through the icon. Did that mean I was muted or unmuted? I had no idea. Just then, my roommate Jake sent me a voice message. Ethan, look how gorgeous Chloe Anderson is. And she has a Ferrari. I think I'm in love with her, but some rich kid asked her out the other day and got shot down, so I guess I have zero chance. I was about to reply, buddy, what made you think you ever had a chance in the first place? But, trying to console him, I blurted out, dude, look at that ice queen face of hers. You'd need a parka just to look at her for more than 2 seconds. What's so great about her? I don't see what's so special. If you like her, you'd better watch out for domestic abuse. The professor, who was in the middle of his lecture, coughed twice. Mr. Ethan, please refrain from talking during class. Mute your microphone. I was completely mortified. Another friend sent a message. Ethan, why wasn't your mic muted? The entire class heard you. Jake sent another message. Ethan, I hate you. Ever since then, both Jake and Chloe looked at me differently. The lockdown eventually ended, but the story spread like wildfire. Sometimes guys would even come to my classroom just to stare at me, and a few of her diehard fans even wanted to teach me a lesson. But I managed to solve those problems with money. Who is that guy anyway? He must have a death wish, talking about Chloe like that. I mean, Chloe could probably crush him with her money alone. But to be fair, the guy's pretty good looking himself. Look at his t-shirt. Isn't that the duck from the Louis Vuitton collection? I think so, but it's probably a fake, right? But Chloe never came to confront me about it, nor did she give any indication she cared. Before that, we had never interacted in any way. It wasn't until now that I realized she definitely still held a grudge. Apparently, I held an irreplaceable spot in her mind. She probably never imagined that the guy she was dating online was her sworn enemy. I replied to Chloe's iMessage while opening up a ride-sharing app. Just then, the door behind me opened again, and Mrs. Anderson stepped out. She looked a little surprised to see me. "Oh, Ethan, you're still here? Where's Chloe?" She glanced around, but didn't see any sign of her. After making her angry twice, I didn't dare ask Chloe for a ride anymore. I was afraid she might try to take us both out on the road. I quickly said, "It's fine. I've already called a car. Cancel it, cancel it. I'm making Chloe drive you." She pulled out her phone, held it to her ear, gave me a smile, and then stepped aside. "Chloe, where are you? Are you ignoring your mother now?" A minute later, Mrs. Anderson gave me an okay sign. Shortly after, a red Ferrari pulled up, and Chloe shot me an icy glare from the driver's seat. "Get in." But before I could move, Mrs. Anderson rushed ahead of me. She grabbed Chloe's ear with one hand. "You be nice to Ethan. Your brother finally has a tutor. He doesn't drive crazy. Don't you dare scare this one away." Chloe quickly rolled up the window. "Mom, stop, stop, I get it." As the window closed, Chloe's subtle perfume was so intoxicating it almost put me to sleep right there in the car. At that moment, I really wanted to brag to my buddy Jake. I was sitting in the car he could only dream of. When we passed a barbecue joint, I asked Chloe to pull over. She gave me a look that screamed, "Are you serious right now?" The moment I stepped out of the car, my phone buzzed. I didn't need to look to know it was a message from Chloe. As a little punishment, I decided I wouldn't reply this time. Now that I thought about it, I had originally met Chloe through a mobile game. I was in my promotion match for the next tier, so I checked for nearby players, and she was the only high-ranked one available. To help carry the game, I sent her an invite, not expecting anything, but she joined instantly. It was crazy to think that Chloe, who never gave any guy the time of day, was in an online relationship. If Jake ever found out, he'd probably die of heartbreak. After buying some lamb skewers, I got back in the car and finally checked the message from Chloe. "Babe, can we please meet? I still haven't seen your face. If I looked like that classmate of yours, would you still like me, babe?" She added. Ever since I found out Chloe was my online girlfriend, even seeing her call me babe felt strange. I heard her phone's notification sound go off. She just glanced at it and didn't reply. She was driving, after all. "We're here," she said, her voice icy. It was hard to imagine how sweet Chloe's voice would sound calling me babe for real. Sweet, yes, but also absolutely terrifying. "Thanks." I hesitated for a moment before thanking her. The second I stepped out, the Ferrari roared to life and sped off. Damn, so cold. It took me forever to find my mom's room at the hospital. I'd asked to visit several times, but she kept telling me not to come. She was in a deluxe private room, all by herself. "Mom, are you feeling any better?" When she saw me, her expression changed, and she immediately got out of bed to try and stop me. "What are you doing here? You need to leave, right now." I looked at her with a helpless expression. "I know you're only in the hospital for that, doctor." "It's fine. I saw him go downstairs just now." My mom breathed a sigh of relief and slumped back into her listless state. "Good. I can't have anyone seeing I have a son this old. Not until I've won him over." I just smiled helplessly. "So, you still want these lamb skewers?" "Yes. Leave the skewers. You can go now." I humbly sat down next to her. "Mom, can't we just go home? I don't like living in that huge house by myself. It feels so empty." My mom just focused on her food, completely ignoring me. "Come on. I'm so bored at home now. That's the whole reason I took this tutoring gig." "Well, whose fault is it that you dress so plainly? I buy you all those designer clothes and bags, and you never wear them. I don't know how I ended up with a son like you." My mom's attitude was unshakable. "I'm not going back until I've landed that doctor. Proximity is the best advantage." Just then, my phone lit up with an iMessage notification. It was from Mrs. Anderson. "Ethan dear, from now on, could you come over to tutor Leo in the afternoons and evenings after your classes? I'll increase your pay. You and Chloe can just come over together after school. Have her give you a ride." I pleaded with my mom for an hour, but she wouldn't budge. In the end, I just got a hotel room for the night. I cranked up the AC, pulled the covers over me, and started chatting with Chloe. I always felt so at ease whenever I talked to her online. She was completely different online than in person. Chloe was the queen of contrast. If you look anything like that classmate of mine, I'd really have to reconsider. She had sent that message over 10 minutes ago, answering the question I'd asked in the car. I replied with a series of question marks. "Didn't you say you'd like me no matter what I looked like?" Her reply was noticeably slower this time. "No, that's a deal breaker. You just can't be like that pervert." I'd have nightmares. Just how much did she despise me? I mean, I said she was a nice queen, but it's not like anyone actually thinks she's ugly. Why was she so hung up on it? "Hubby, why didn't you hit me up to play our game today?" Seeing that nickname made my skin crawl. I couldn't even begin to imagine the real Chloe saying that, let alone her tone and expression. What? Hubby, don't call me that. She immediately sent a sticker of a sad kitten. Whoa, what was she thinking? You're so cold in real life. You can't just let loose like this online. I decided to just answer her question and ignore the whole nickname thing. I might be pretty busy for a while. I probably won't be able to play during the day or at night. Though what I was really thinking was, if only my tutoring session hadn't run an hour late. Okay, fine. We chatted for a while, and soon it was almost midnight. Time for bed. Good night, hubby. Good night. I still couldn't bring myself to type out the hubby part. I was genuinely afraid Chloe would kill me if she found out the truth. My mom's Porsche was parked outside, but since I didn't have my license yet, I still had to take a cab to campus every day. The moment I got out of the cab, I saw my buddy Jake at the campus gate. He waved and ran over, a look of disbelief on his face. Whoa, Ethan, since when do you show up for an 8 a.m. class? Am I still dreaming? Just then, a loud roar echoed from behind us as a familiar red Ferrari, like a snarling beast, pulled up to the gate. Unsurprisingly, Chloe always made a grand entrance. I glanced around and noticed something was off. What's going on? Why are there so many people at the gate today? Jake explained nonchalantly. You don't know? It's Chloe's birthday today. Kevin Shaw announced he was going to ask her out, so we're all here to watch the show. I spotted Kevin in the crowd, holding an incredibly fancy-looking cake. Everyone around them was whispering. You're here early too, I said to Jake. Came to see the big confession? But Jake just scoffed. Confession? Please. Everyone's here to watch him crash and burn. Nobody actually thinks he has a chance, right? This Kevin Shaw guy had a huge reputation at school. I didn't know much about him, other than that his family had some money and he was incredibly flashy about it. He was always decked out in international designer brands and supposedly had some connection to the dean. Too bad someone exposed him a while back. Turns out all his designer clothes were knockoffs. Why not? I think he's pretty handsome. Even from a distance, I could see he stood out from the other guys. He was tall, with refined features, and had a polished look that definitely screamed rich kid. Jake clapped me on the shoulder with a look that said, you still have so much to learn. Tons of handsome guys have asked Chloe out. Have you ever seen her say yes to any of them? Besides, Kevin is famous for being a total jerk. Why would Chloe ever say yes to him? Chloe was just sitting in her car, not getting out. I wondered what she was doing. Could it be that Kevin might actually succeed? My curiosity was piqued. What's so bad about him? He corners kids in the bathroom and beats them up. You haven't seen it? He thinks he's hot stuff because his family has a little money, and he specifically picks on students who aren't as wealthy. I think he might be a psychopath. So, you really can't judge a book by its cover. He even announced in the group chat that he was going to ask her out. Does he really think he's going to succeed? I literally came here just to watch him fail. Suddenly, my phone vibrated in my pocket. The caller ID said employer. Mrs. Anderson? Hello? Mrs. Anderson, what's up? Has Chloe found you on campus yet? I glanced at the Ferrari in the distance and shook my head. Not yet. Okay, Ethan, just wait a second. A moment later, Chloe stepped out of the car. As the butterfly doors swung open, she looked like an ice princess stepping out of a fairy tale. Kevin, his face full of confidence, walked up to her with the cake. Jake grabbed my arm, his face alight with excitement. Chloe, happy birthday. Our families have known each other for a long time, and I think it's time I said something. He offered the cake to Chloe with both hands, a faint blush creeping onto his cheeks. Chloe stopped, glanced impassively at the cake in his hands, and made no move to take it. Thank you, but it's better if you don't say it. Chloe started walking again, leaving Kevin standing there, utterly dumbfounded. The surrounding crowd either snickered or looked on with pity. Jake was overjoyed, grabbing my arm and trying to stifle his laughter. I knew it. I knew it. He was never going to succeed. This means I still have a chance. But then I realized something was wrong. Why the hell was she walking towards me? Sure enough, Chloe's death glare was fixed directly on me. Jake noticed it too. Ethan, why is Chloe coming over here? What was happening? Mrs. Anderson told me to wait. Don't tell me she meant for her daughter to come find me. Jake, however, was nervously clutching my arm. Dude, let go of my arm. You grab it when you're excited. You grab it when you're nervous. You're going to break my arm. As Chloe got closer, I noticed her ears were bright red. I suddenly remembered her mom's tactic from the night before. Don't tell me she got her ear twisted again this morning. She looked at me with the exact same cold expression she'd given Kevin. I am formally inviting you to please come to my house for lunch today. Is that clear? I stared for a second, then nodded. Seeing my nod, Chloe turned with a slightly awkward expression and got back in her car. In an instant, I went from being a spectator to the star of the show. The car roared and drove straight onto campus. Jake stared at me with a look of pure shock and admiration. What? Going to her house? Did you actually land her? Jake looked heartbroken. I thought we were brothers, and you go and steal my girl. I quickly shut down his wild fantasy. What are you talking about? I'm her brother's tutor. Can you stop being such a gossip? But his expression didn't change. He still had that starstruck look on his face. Oh, you're so lucky. I wish you two all the best. Before Jake could finish his daydreaming, Mrs. Anderson's call came through again. Chloe found you this time, right? Unless I was mistaken, there was a hint of pride in her voice. She did just now. Wow, so I was right. Sigh, Chloe is a wonderful girl. She's just a bit too cold towards people. You're so reserved. Ethan, I knew you wouldn't take the initiative to ride with her, so I made her invite you personally. Now you don't have to worry. No wonder Chloe's invitation sounded so forced. Mrs. Anderson, you've just made me even more nervous. Still, I managed to say, thank you, Mrs. Anderson. After I hung up, Jake cautiously poked my arm. Dude, I think you're the center of attention now. He was right. Most of the crowd's attention seemed to have shifted from Kevin to me. Especially Kevin, who was staring at me like I'd murdered his family. After all, from an outsider's perspective, it looked like I had just swooped in and ruined a romantic proposal. For a second, I actually felt the shame of being the other guy. Let's go. Let's go. Nothing more to see here. I grabbed Jake's arm and bolted for our classroom. Once we were away from the crowd, his gossip-loving side flared up again. You talked all that trash about Chloe during that online class, and now you're her brother's tutor. Hasn't she been making your life hell? I looked like I was about to cry. Don't even talk about it. I've only tutored for a few hours, and she's already driven me half insane. You just had to bring up a sore subject, didn't you? If you hadn't said all that stuff about her, you'd probably have a better shot with her than Kevin ever did. I quickly waved my hands in dismissal at his words. Don't say that. I know my place. But Jake's expression suddenly turned serious. Why would that be overestimating yourself? Don't you know you're handsome? Plus, you're pretty wealthy yourself. You and the Anderson family are a good match. You're richer than Kevin and way more low-key. Why are you selling yourself short? Jake was the only person who knew my family was well off, because he was the only one I had invited to my last birthday party. Listening to Jake's assessment, I pulled out my phone and looked at my chat history with Chloe from last night. My eye stopped on the name she called me. Hubby. I felt an indescribable pang of disappointment. If she knew who I really was, would she still be able to call me that? Or would she just give me that same cold, emotionless stare she gave Kevin? Just as I was staring blankly at our chat, another message from Chloe came through. Hubby, my mom twisted my ear again this morning. She made it all red. She followed it with a sticker of a crying kitten. Are you okay? What for? Wow, I actually guessed right. Maybe I have a future in fortune telling. It was because of my brother's tutor. She did it because of him. How is this my fault again? But then, she changed the subject and started complaining about, well, me. Seriously, has Chloe ever actually been in a relationship before? Who complains about another guy to their online boyfriend all day? Luckily for her, the guy she was complaining about was me. Do you know how stupid that guy is? I felt like I'd been struck by lightning. Oh yeah? How stupid is he? I had already rolled my eyes 100 times in my head. I was curious to hear just how stupid I supposedly was. My mom told me to go get him, but there was that guy with the cake right by the gate, so I couldn't get out. And that idiot was just standing there, not going into campus. And then he tattled on me to my mom, so I had no choice but to get out and go get him. She had such an icy expression on her face just a moment ago, and now she's here whining about it. This girl's mood swings were something else. And besides, who tattled to her mom? It was her mom who called me. Suddenly, I thought of a great way to mess with her. Oh, so someone's bringing you cakes now. You're in high demand, huh? As expected from someone who's probably never dated before, she didn't reply for a long time. Yeah, it's my birthday today. Don't you have a present for me, hubby? I thought about it. Giving her a gift would mean we'd have to meet. I quickly sent her a $20 digital gift. Happy now? Give me a smile. But Chloe didn't accept it. Instead, she sent one back to me. Hubby, take this money, buy me a cake, and deliver it to me at Ashton University. Can you do that? A mischievous smile spread across my face. With lightning speed, I accepted the money and then turned off my phone. Yeah, let's see how you like getting played. For some reason, Kevin and Chloe walked into the classroom at almost the exact same time. Neither of them looked happy. They both seemed completely dejected. Realizing that I was the cause of both their bad moods, my own mood instantly brightened. Chloe wasn't too hostile towards me, since she had no idea I was the one who'd ghosted her. Kevin, on the other hand, was looking at me like he wanted to kill me. We had a 2-hour block class. Every time I looked up, I'd see Kevin in the front row turned around, staring daggers at me with his resentful eyes. What the hell are you looking at? Staring like some scorned lover. I wanted to gouge his eyes out. After being stared at by him for an entire period, I was about to lose my mind. When class finally ended, I expected him to come over and start something. But surprisingly, 2 minutes after the bell, he was still sitting in his seat, not moving. Awkward. Maybe I had misjudged him. But the moment Chloe walked out the door, Kevin was in my face. So he was just too embarrassed to do it in front of her. Ethan, I'm warning you. You need to understand what's in your league and what's not. Oh, and what is it that I'm not worthy of? Please, enlighten me. Kevin's face darkened. He probably wasn't used to people standing up to him. Just then, his little cronies saw he was getting angry and started to circle around us. I looked at him with contempt. What's the matter? You think you're tough because you have backup? Still pulling this middle school bully crap. Jake stood beside me, but it wouldn't do much good. Kevin was unhinged. If he decided to throw a punch, the two of us wouldn't stand a chance. His chest was heaving. He was clearly furious with me. So you don't know what's out of your league, huh? His voice suddenly got much louder. Because you're poor. Don't even think about getting close to Chloe to try and marry up. You're not worthy. I just smiled at him, not saying a word. A guy who wears a fake Dior jacket was calling me poor? Of course, I didn't care if he made fun of me for being poor. He wasn't exactly in a position to judge. But I had never done something as embarrassing as getting into a shouting match in the middle of a classroom. I just wanted it to be over. I don't know if my silence gave him confidence. He spoke again, and his next words completely destroyed any hope I had of resolving this peacefully. Everyone knows. Your mom is always the one picking you up. Isn't that because you don't have a dad? My heart clenched. I shot up from my seat and slapped him hard across the face. The sound was so loud that the entire classroom heard it crystal clear. You can get used to the pain of losing a loved one over time, as long as no one comes along and rips the scab off, raw and bloody. My dad was a firefighter. My mom. She was a wealthy woman who loved all things beautiful, and he was a dedicated fire captain. He was completely swept off his feet by my mom's charm offensive. The day of the factory fire, my dad was on call. I found out later that the owner hadn't told the first responders about the explosives stored inside. That day, no amount of designer luxury could hide the tear tracks on my mother's face. It was the first time I had ever seen her cry so uncontrollably. You dare hit me. Kevin, furious, lunged at me. I wasn't about to back down. Anyone who disrespected my dad was going to get what they deserved. Suddenly, I felt a warm hand on my wrist. It was Chloe, her brow furrowed. You get into fights? How are you supposed to be a good role model for my brother? I shook her hand off. What does it matter? Does me getting into a fight have anything to do with my ability to teach your brother? She gave me a look that said, say one more word and I'll punch you. Luckily, with Chloe there, Kevin's desire to fight seemed to evaporate. His specialty was acting like a perfect gentleman whenever Chloe was around. As soon as she showed up, he scurried back to his seat. By the time classes let out for lunch, my stomach was rumbling. I glanced over at Chloe's seat, but she was already gone. What the heck? I thought we were supposed to leave together. I started packing my things, feeling a bit disappointed. Suddenly, I felt a hostile gaze on me. It was Kevin again. This guy was like a bad smell I couldn't get rid of. Jake noticed something was wrong too. Kevin and his goons hadn't left. The situation wasn't looking good for us. Well, actually, it wasn't looking good for me. After all, Jake lived in the dorms. I was the only one who had to leave campus. Ethan, are you planning to die in there? I turned around to see Chloe standing there, looking impatient. Thankfully, Chloe's sudden appearance saved my skin. Ethan, you're finally here. Come in, the food's getting cold. I don't know why, but for a tutor, Mrs. Anderson seemed a little too enthusiastic about having me around. Leo was thrilled to see me too. It seemed like everyone in the family welcomed me, except for Chloe. At the dinner table, Mrs. Anderson suddenly spoke up. Ethan, we'd like to offer you double your rate, if you're willing to come tutor Leo in the afternoons and evenings. Oh no, Mrs. Anderson, you don't have to do that. Why was my pay suddenly doubling? As if sensing my confusion, Mrs. Anderson explained. Don't feel bad about taking it. Leo is incredibly picky, and we've gone through so many tutors. It was a real struggle to find one he connects with like you. And the second reason is, you mentioned last night that your mother is ill. I know you could probably use the extra money right now. I was so touched by her explanation I could have cried. The second reason was probably the main one. She must think that with my mom in the hospital, I was struggling financially. Another misunderstanding. It's always harder to refuse someone's kindness than to accept it. A raise is a raise. I decided not to turn it down. I didn't have any classes this afternoon, so it looked like I'd be spending the whole afternoon here. Ethan, do you play video games? Was he kidding? Do I play games? Who do you think you're talking to? I'm in the highest rank. Ever seen that before? Leo's eyes practically lit up. Can you carry me for a few games? I'm in my promotion series. I had to stay the whole afternoon anyway. So what was one more game? Let's do it. Log on. I carried the game without breaking a sweat. Whoa, you're amazing. You're smart, you're great at games. And you're handsome. You should just be my brother-in-law. I was beaming from all the compliments. All right, one more game. My ringtone cut me off. The caller ID showed it was my mom. My mom was actually calling me. Hello? Ethan, I forgot a file at home. Are you free right now? Could you bring it over to me? Of course. It was never for anything good. Yeah, give me a minute. I just got a raise, and I was already slacking off. Mrs. Anderson, I'm so sorry, but my mom's condition has taken a turn for the worse. I need to go see her right away. Do you need Chloe to give you a ride? No, that's okay, Mrs. Anderson. I turned to leave. Leo looked at Chloe with a huge grin on his face. Sis, Ethan is way better at that game than you are. Chloe shot him a look. Let me see his match history. Leo held his phone out in front of his sister. Highest rank lobby, 13 kills, 0 deaths. But what caught Chloe's attention wasn't my stats. It was my username. Ashton U_Hottie. Chloe glanced at her own username. Ashton U_it girl. It was the name she and her hubby had spent ages coming up with together. Chloe's knuckles turned white as she clenched her fists. Finally, she thought, I've found you. When I finally made it to the hospital entrance, I saw a familiar figure from a distance. Kevin. Speak of the devil. His usual cronies weren't with him, so I wasn't too worried. Still, I didn't want to deal with him, so I just pretended I didn't see him. But as I walked past him, his sharp, sarcastic voice was exactly what I expected. Well, don't tell me your mom is actually sick. I guess there is a God after all. Is your mouth always this full of crap? We were in public, and I didn't want to make a scene. What about it? Is your dad not sick? Then what are you doing at a hospital? He said arrogantly, my dad's not sick. He's here for a business meeting. Oh, a business meeting at a hospital? How original. I had no desire to continue this pointless conversation. When I got to her room, my mom was talking with a man in a sharp suit. I knocked on the door. Mom, I brought the file. They seemed to be wrapping up their conversation. All right, Mr. Shaw, my mom said. Since we've agreed to the terms, shall we sign? Of course. The man was polite, and he signed his name with a clean flourish. Mom, you won't believe it. I almost got into a fight at school today. To my surprise, my mom stopped signing the document and started lecturing me. Why on earth would you get into a fight? That's so dangerous. He could say we're poor. I don't care about that. But then he started talking about Dad. I couldn't take it. I noticed my mom flinch. Crap, I spoke too soon. I shouldn't have brought that up in front of her. Who was it? My mom's voice was calm, but I knew she was furious. The man tried to smooth things over. Kids these days, they don't know any better. Why don't we finish signing, Ms. Liu? Dad, what's taking so long? All three of us turned our attention to the person standing in the doorway. Kevin? Mr. Shaw? A business meeting? Unbelievable. This man was Kevin's father. The look on Kevin's face as he stared at me was one of utter shock. I looked at my mom and pointed a finger at the doorway. Mom, that's him. I never thought I'd see the day I'd become a tattletale. I guess you really do live long enough to become the villain. But man, did it feel good. The man's face instantly turned grim. For a moment, he seemed at a loss for what to do. My mom didn't say anything. She just set the pen down. Mr. Shaw, I think I need to review this contract again. Something doesn't feel quite right. Let's postpone this for now. The corner of the man's mouth twitched, and he forced a smile that looked more painful than a grimace. Please, Ms. Liu, don't do this. Everything on my end is already set up. My mom remained silent. Kevin, get over here now. The man was trembling with rage. Kevin had no choice. He looked at his father fearfully and shuffled into the room. The sound of a sharp slap echoed through the room. It was a crisp, loud sound. Within seconds, a red handprint appeared on his cheek. How can you be so thoughtless? How many times have I told you not to bully your classmates? Tears streamed down Kevin's face, but he didn't dare make a sound. My mom just watched coldly, not saying a word to stop it. As for me, I was practically enjoying the show. Damn, it felt good to be the bad guy for once. The man turned back to my mom. Is that sufficient, Ms. Liu? It was my son's fault. I will discipline him properly. Conflicts that happen between kids at school should be resolved by them at school. The man seemed to see a glimmer of hope. Of course, I'll have my son apologize to Ethan at school tomorrow. Is that acceptable? The man looked at me. Being the good-natured person I am, I didn't want to push it. I nodded. All right then, Mr. Shaw, my mom said. We'll sign the contract tomorrow. Is that a problem? Yes, that's perfectly fine. No problem at all. The man left, looking rather humiliated, dragging his son along with him. As soon as they were gone, I threw my arms around my mom. Mom, you're the best. You're amazing. Don't worry. No matter what, I won't let anyone bully you. Just then, the doctor my mom had a crush on walked in. He looked a little surprised to see us hugging. Who's this? Your son. My mom mercilessly shoved me away. No, this is my nephew. In the cab on the way back, I checked the messages from Chloe again. Ever since I'd silenced my phone, Chloe had been blowing it up with messages. The most recent one was from 5 minutes ago. Hubby, if I manage to find you all on my own, can we have kisses and cuddles? Kisses and cuddles? I'm right in front of your face, and you have no idea. How exactly are you going to find me? Sure, whatever you want. As long as you can actually do it. Okay, you just wait. When I got to Chloe's house, Mrs. Anderson immediately asked, how is she? How is your mother doing? I wanted to say, I don't have a mother anymore. I'm her nephew now, remember? Her condition is stable, but she's having some mental health issues. Mental health issues? Oh dear, that can be difficult to treat. Chloe, who was sitting on the couch with her legs crossed, suddenly stood up and said, come to my room. Excuse me? What did she mean by that? Chloe completely ignored my confused look and headed straight for the second floor. Crap, was I supposed to follow her? Ethan, you're back? There's a problem I'm stuck on. Can you come help me? Leo called out to me from his doorway. I glanced upstairs, and though I was hesitant, I walked over to Leo's room. After all, tutoring was my actual job. Besides, I had a gut feeling that whatever Chloe wanted with me, it wasn't going to be good. Which problem are you stuck on? This whole chapter. Magnetic fields and electromagnetic induction. I was speechless. This was going to take forever. Just then, Chloe pushed the door open, and I turned to lock eyes with her. She looked extremely displeased, clearly in a bad mood. I told you to come to my room. What are you doing in here? I almost rolled my eyes out of my head. Excuse me, being a tutor is my actual job here. Go to my room first. You can teach him later. With that, she rushed forward, grabbed my hand, and started dragging me out of the room. Sis, let go of Ethan. Leo rushed over and grabbed my other arm, trying to stop Chloe from dragging me away. I was stuck in the middle, completely speechless. What was this? It felt like I was being drawn and quartered. I know you don't like Ethan, but... Leo looked at Chloe with pleading eyes. Hey, was it really necessary to say that out loud? I knew Chloe couldn't stand me, but having it announced like that was still pretty embarrassing. Chloe looked at her brother, her eyes filled with a simmering anger. What do you know? Let go of him right now. Leo shook his head, refusing to let go. Don't touch him, do you hear me? This was getting ridiculous. Were these two about to throw down? Chloe, Leo, what is wrong with you two? Mrs. Anderson burst in and pulled Chloe aside. Seeing that his backup had arrived, Leo immediately played the little brother card. Mom, sis is interrupting my studies, and she's trying to bully Ethan. His acting was so good, he could have won an Oscar. But when I thought about it, what Leo said wasn't that far from the truth. Mrs. Anderson looked at me with a skeptical expression. Don't look at me. I couldn't afford to get on either of their bad sides. Mrs. Anderson must have taken my silence as confirmation that Chloe was bullying me. She grabbed Chloe by the ear and dragged her out of the room. How many times have I told you? Don't bother your brother when he's studying, and stop bothering Ethan. Now get out of here. Mom, listen to me. No, let go of me first. Before she left, Mrs. Anderson gave me a reassuring smile. Don't worry, you two continue studying. I'm going to go have a word with her. The door closed, and without Chloe in the room, the atmosphere instantly became much more relaxed. Ethan, let's continue. I nodded. I hadn't been wrong about him. Leo was definitely a smart kid. Magnetic fields and electromagnetic induction are some of the toughest topics in high school physics. And for me, all I had to do was explain the concepts he didn't get and go over a couple of example problems. After that, he could handle the rest of the worksheet on his own. For the rest of the time, he would basically write out a step, glance at me for approval, and then beam with happiness when I nodded. All right, Ethan, I think I've got everything we covered today. No other subjects you need help with? He shook his head and packed his books back into his backpack. This was basically a preview of the next chapter. I feel like I've learned a lot. I glanced at the time. 2 hours had passed, and surprisingly, Chloe hadn't come to bother us once. It seemed Mrs. Anderson was very effective. So what was I supposed to do with the rest of my time? It was the weekend, and I only had one elective in the morning, so my afternoon was completely free. It was as if Jake had heard my thoughts. A message from him popped up on my phone. Ethan, get over here, quick. Something fun is going on. It was followed by a location pin for a karaoke bar with a room number. What's going on? I waited 5 minutes, but there was no reply. Knowing him, he was probably too busy being mesmerized by some girl. Karaoke on a Sunday afternoon? Who does that? And since when did he use my full name? I usually avoid places like that, but Leo was done with his work, there was no one at home, and I was bored. Wait for me. I'll be there soon. Leo reluctantly said goodbye. As I was leaving, I didn't see Chloe anywhere. Had Mrs. Anderson dragged her out for execution? but it was probably for the best. She rarely ever looked happy to see me anyway. If she found out I was leaving early, she'd probably try to get me fired. I drove to the karaoke bar and found the room number Jake had sent. I pushed the door open. The moment I opened the door, I felt something was off. The room was silent. No music, no talking. The moment I saw what was happening inside, I turned to run. Inside the room were none other than Kevin and 3 or 4 guys covered in tattoos. And my friend? Jake was curled up on the edge of the sofa, clutching his head. His phone was tossed on the table. It was a setup. I turned around without a word, planning to make a run for it. But a blonde guy with an earring was already blocking the doorway. I was trapped. I forced myself to look calm as I faced Kevin, refusing to show any fear. What do you want? If you dare touch me, I swear, when I get out of here, both you and your father are finished. Kevin fiddled with his phone as he walked towards me, then pointed to his own cheek. See this? This handprint. My dad has never hit me in my entire life. It's all because of you, you bastard, and your bitch of a mother. He held up his phone, pointing the camera at my face with a smug grin. So you're rich, huh? A little rich boy? You're going to make sure my dad and I are finished. He handed his phone to one of the tattooed guys. He pointed at the blonde guy by the door. You? Grab his arms. The blonde guy walked over and grabbed both of my arms. Get off. Get the hell away from me. I struggled with all my might, but the strength difference between us was just too great. I aimed a kick at Kevin's groin. As he doubled over in pain, I twisted free and made a break for the door. I couldn't worry about Jake anymore. My hand had just touched the doorknob when I felt a dull impact on the back of my head. Warm liquid trickled down my face. My vision started to blur, and then everything went dark. When I woke up, my head was splitting. I instinctively shielded my eyes from the bright sunlight. After a moment of disorientation, the events from before I passed out came flooding back, and I shot upright. A searing pain shot through my body. It was only then that I took in my surroundings. I was in a hospital. You're awake. I turned my head. It was Chloe. What was she doing at the hospital? Chloe's voice was groggy, as if I had just woken her up. She sounded a little grumpy. Why am I in the hospital? Last night, I was rambling, desperate to know what had happened after I passed out. What are you talking about? Nothing happened to you. After all, I was the one who rescued you. Chloe proudly patted her chest with her left hand. Her eyes were sparkling, as if she was waiting for me to praise her. It was only then that I noticed her right arm was in a cast. What happened to your arm? Like I said, it was from saving you. I grabbed a mirror. My face was covered in bruises, some of which had already turned a deep purple. Great, my face was ruined. Chloe, are you sure those guys didn't do anything to me? Chloe looked at me with a dead serious expression, then suddenly burst out laughing. Do what to you? The police have already arrested them all. Chloe deliberately waved her casted arm in front of me. Don't worry. When I rescue someone, I make sure they come out in one piece. It's just a shame that eating is going to be a real challenge for me now. I took a hit for you, you know. Suddenly, I felt like something was off. If I was in trouble, where was my mom? She wasn't still trying to woo that doctor, was she? Chloe, where's my mom? Chloe looked at me and gave a vague answer. Your mom? She's busy with something. And where is that bastard Kevin? I'm going to kill him. I tried to get out of bed, but Chloe stopped me. Don't worry about it. Kevin's in police custody. That's what your mom is taking care of right now. Hearing that, some of my anger subsided. The university has already expelled him. Not that it matters much. He's had a complete mental breakdown. What kind of breakdown? Chloe glanced at me, but didn't say anything. Because of what happened to you, your mom pulled out of the deal with his father. His dad was the one who desperately wanted the partnership, and the terms were completely one-sided anyway. When your mom found out what happened, she was furious and canceled everything. His company's funding dried up. Last night, Kevin's father jumped from a building. That's why Kevin had a breakdown. He deserved it. Good riddance for Ashton University. Still, what happened to his dad was tragic. He should have thought more about the kind of son he was raising. Through it all, Chloe never explained exactly how she had managed to rescue me. From that day on, my recovery began. I was called down to the station to give a statement. By the time I got back to campus, all of Kevin's things were gone. By getting rid of the campus public enemy, I became a minor celebrity again. Why again? Because the first time was for bad-mouthing Chloe. My mom was very protective. She told my academic advisor that I was recovering because Kevin and some others had ganged up on me, but she never mentioned the tattooed men. After all, college life can be boring, and rumors, true or not, quickly become accepted as fact. My relationship with Chloe had thawed a bit, though I still took advantage of her ignorance every night online, calling her babe. I still rode in Chloe's Ferrari to tutor Leo after class every day, but recently, I'd been given a new task, feeding Chloe. It was a demand she made, but to show my gratitude for her saving my life, I agreed. I was getting paid for one job, but doing two. I wanted to go back to my own house, of course, but my mom still hadn't landed her doctor, and knowing her, there was no way I could convince her to come home. Before, Chloe had been desperately trying to drag me into her room. Now I was in there every day, and she never said what it was she wanted. After I finished feeding Chloe, I went to Leo's room to help him with his physics. Ethan, do you have a crush on my sister? No. I admit, I didn't sound very convincing when I said it. Then why are you feeding her? I'm just repaying her for saving my life. You mean that time at the karaoke bar? Yeah. How did you know about that? Well, you should thank me too. I was the one who told my sister where you were. She never would have found you otherwise. Leo looked at me, clearly expecting praise. That smug, credit-hogging personality of his was just like his sister's. That day, my sister asked where you went. I told her you were going to the karaoke bar with someone. She got super mad and stormed out. Why? I don't know. She was muttering something about who knows what girl he's off with now. And then she just left, probably to find you. Wow, what was Chloe thinking? I looked at Leo and smiled. Is that so? Well, then I really do have to thank you. Is there anything you want to eat? Or anywhere you want to go? My treat. Leo propped his chin on his hand and thought for a couple of minutes. Ethan, how about we go to the amusement park? I nodded. Sure, but you have to clear it with your mom and sister first. Otherwise, I'd be a pretty irresponsible tutor. Leo cheered and ran out of the room. Ethan is the best. About 2 minutes later, Leo returned with a strange, disappointed look on his face. What's wrong? Did they say no? It's okay. We can just play some games instead. Leo looked at me with puppy dog eyes and shook his head. No, my mom said I could go. It's my sister. What about your sister? Your mom said yes. What could she possibly object to? Wouldn't your mom twist her ear off? I looked at him and said reassuringly, it's fine. Your sister's opinion doesn't matter as long as your mom said it's okay. No, she agreed, but she wants to come with us. What? Chloe wants to come? Can she even crack a smile? Wouldn't her presence just completely ruin the mood? Leo sighed helplessly. It's so weird. My sister has never been interested in amusement parks before. I was already picturing Chloe sitting on a merry-go-round with a dead serious expression on her face. Where is she now? What's she doing? She said she needs to change her outfit and told us to wait for her. With one arm in a cast? Thank goodness she didn't ask me to help her change. All right, I'll call a cab then. Chloe's Ferrari probably wouldn't fit all three of us anyway. We waited downstairs for 5 minutes before Chloe finally emerged, unhurried. The moment she stepped out, she almost blinded me. Chloe was wearing a long, white, backless dress. She looked like a radiant, perfectly sculpted statue. Her exposed calves and back were especially captivating, her skin as smooth as porcelain. It was a charm few men could resist. Of course, I wouldn't dare say a word about her outfit. Leo, however, who had no fear of his sister, had no such reservations. Sis, we're going to an amusement park. Why are you dressed so formally? If you want to go, then let's go. If not, you can go back inside and study. I knew nothing good would come from opening my mouth. I was glad I wasn't the one who said it. TCH. Ethan and I didn't even want to bring you in the first place. Chloe's gaze shifted to me, as if asking if that was true. Why do you two always drag me into your fights? No, I'm happy you're coming. Seeing the tension ease slightly, I quickly tried to smooth things over. All right, the car's here. Let's go. To Seaside Wonderland, please. The driver glanced at us in the rearview mirror and joked. Well now, are you three all going to the same place? 2 of you look like you're dressed for a picnic, and 1 of you looks like you're headed to a wedding. His comment made Leo and me burst out laughing. Chloe's stern face suddenly turned to me. Is that funny? Damn, it's like my very existence offends her. She was only picking on me. Sis, stop bullying Ethan all the time. If you treat a great guy like him this way, it's no wonder you don't have a boyfriend. Chloe didn't say a word, but her expression darkened. Ethan is smart, great at games, and handsome, and he hangs out with me. Leo was listing my good qualities when he suddenly sighed. Whoever gets to marry Ethan would probably wake up laughing in their sleep. Suddenly, Leo turned to me, his face lit up with excitement. My friend has an older sister. She's even nicer than my sister, and she's really pretty. I should introduce you two sometime. Before Leo could finish, he got a sharp smack on the back of the head. You dare, Chloe said, glaring at Leo. Leo clutched his head, looking at his sister angrily. Sis, why'd you hit me so hard? You don't know your own strength. Chloe raised her hand to hit him again. You keep that up. What was that you were saying? So disrespectful. Seeing this, I quickly shielded Leo's head with my hand. Stop hitting him. He's a smart kid. You're going to give him brain damage. Chloe's death glare turned back to me. You're protecting him? You want to marry his friend's sister? I had brought this on myself. I should have just kept my mouth shut. With me protecting him, Leo got even bolder. Ethan already agreed. So what you say doesn't matter. If I help him find a girlfriend, he'll definitely carry me to the highest rank in our game. Then Leo turned to look at me. You'll do it, right? Ethan. Yes, I agree. Chloe completely lost it. I had never heard her speak so loudly before. You agreed? What did you agree to? As she said this, a strange expression crossed her face, as if some unfamiliar emotion was bubbling up inside her. With her hand still resting on my head, I could feel my face starting to blush. After all, this was Chloe Anderson. Who wouldn't be flustered? I don't know where I found the courage, but I started to argue back. He's just a kid. Why are you getting so worked up about it? The hint of vulnerability on her face vanished in an instant. What had just happened to cause that sudden shift? Chloe looked at me with a displeased expression and said, word by word, why is his friend's sister okay, but I'm not? A bad temper can be changed. And besides, you're the one who made me angry. Huh. I must have had the most bewildered look on my face, like one of those confused old men on the subway. What did she even mean by that? Did she want to marry me? She avoided my confused gaze, looking out the window with an unnatural expression. It's nothing. Now shut up. In less than 10 minutes, she had flipped her mood 3 times. Classic Chloe. This was probably the most the two of us had ever spoken to each other. We're here. After we got out of the car, Leo's excitement turned to despair. What? Why are there so many people? Even for a weekend, the lines were unbelievably long. Well, it is the weekend. But don't worry, I have this. I pulled a card out of my bag. That's right, a VIP pass for Seaside Wonderland. The members only line was practically empty. My mom had gotten me the card, probably because she didn't want me hanging around the house. Probably because she was always having dates over. Whoa, Ethan, you have a VIP pass. Hey, Ethan has a wait. Where's my sister? It was only then that I realized I hadn't seen Chloe since we got out of the car. It was because she was so quiet. Her presence was practically non-existent. But she was a grown adult. She couldn't have gotten lost, right? Hey, there she is. I followed Leo's finger, and, sure enough, Chloe stood out from the crowd. I then noticed she was holding cotton candy and an ice cream cone. Of course, girls always love those two things. Chloe walked up to me and held out the cotton candy and ice cream. Here for you. Want some? For me. I took them, still in disbelief. What was going on? Chloe was acting really strange today. Meanwhile, Leo was throwing a tantrum because he didn't get anything. Sis, give me some money. I'll go buy my own. Chloe completely ignored him. Leo reached into Chloe's purse, and in the process, a small piece of paper fell out of her pocket. Leo curiously picked it up. Chloe's reaction was surprisingly intense. Leo, give that back to me now. Leo started to bargain with her. I want cotton candy, and I want ice cream. Deal. Chloe's face was grim. I had no idea what was written on that piece of paper. Give it to me, and I'll go buy them for you. Leo didn't hesitate to hand the note back to her. While Chloe was off buying the snacks, Leo leaned in conspiratorially. Ethan, guess what was written on my sister's note? How would I know? I didn't even see it. I shook my head and answered honestly. I don't know, but I'm curious. Can you tell me? Leo nodded and leaned in close to my ear again. My sister's note said, how to win a guy's affection at an amusement park. And she had check marks next to cotton candy and ice cream. Win a guy's affection? I looked at Chloe in a new light. Could it be that Chloe's strange behavior today was all for my benefit? I shook my head vigorously. Ethan, that's a dangerous thought. Leo looked at me with a hint of pity in his eyes. Ethan, it looks like you're going to be my brother-in-law. Brother-in-law, my ass. Leo continued, sighing to himself. Being with my sister is really tough, but it's okay. At least this way I'll get to see you every day. With a disgusted look on my face, I quickly sent a message to my online Chloe. Babe, would you ever fall for another guy? Never. I only love you. Yep, confirmed. I was officially a scumbag. Chloe liked me. Even with all this, I still couldn't believe it. Don't worry, I told Leo. I'm definitely not going to fall for your sister. I know. My sister has a pretty bad temper. My interest in the note was suddenly renewed. Did you see what else was written on her note? Leo shook his head. No, I didn't get a chance to read the rest. Chloe returned with the snacks and walked up to us. We immediately dropped the subject. So what should we ride first? The roller coaster or the drop tower? Both were thrill rides, and Leo was excited at the suggestion. Chloe, however, had other ideas. She pulled out her little note and glanced at it. The haunted house. Seriously? Why would we go in there? Not wanting the two of them to start fighting again, I stepped in to play peacemaker. Sure, the haunted house can be pretty thrilling too. The haunted house experience took a while, so you had to wait for the group ahead to finish before you could go in. As a result, the line for the haunted house was longer than for any other attraction. This is where the VIP pass came in handy. Walking past the long line of people to the members-only entrance earned us a lot of envious and resentful stares. Of course, a lot of those stares were also because I was standing next to a stunning girl like Chloe. Before we went in, I leaned over and whispered in Chloe's ear, "If you get scared, you can hold my hand." She tried to act tough for the first few minutes, but after the first scare actor nearly made her jump out of her skin, she latched onto my hand. "I'm not doing this because I want to. You told me to." My cheeks felt hot, and I didn't dare look at her for the rest of the walkthrough. All I could think was that this haunted house was huge, with a new scare around every corner. I just remember that every time something jumped out, she would shrink behind me, until by the time we finally got out, she was practically clinging to my back. I helped her down, and she just smoothed out her wrinkled dress without a word. I realized Chloe's attitude towards me had undergone a massive shift. Could what Leo said actually be true? After that, Leo and I excitedly went to ride the roller coaster and the drop tower. Seeing Chloe's blank face while I was screaming my head off made the drop tower feel completely tame. In fact, it made me want to jump off it. Leo was right. Chloe was an expert at killing the mood. As the sun began to set, we headed to our final destination, the Ferris wheel. After the couple in front of us got into their cabin, Chloe grabbed my hand and pulled me into the next one. Then she turned to Leo and said, "You can take the next one." Across from us sat a couple who were clearly madly in love. Chloe and I had nothing to talk about, so we just sat there listening to their sweet whispers. "Babe, they say that if a couple kisses at the very top of the Ferris wheel, they'll be together forever. Will you be with me forever?" The guy said. The girl, blushing deeply, rested her head on his shoulder and nodded shyly. As the Ferris wheel climbed higher, the world below spread out before us. The distant mountains, the nearby lake. It was as if nature itself was bearing witness to their love. I don't know if we had reached the top yet, but the couple across from us were already lost in a passionate kiss. I felt a bit awkward and quickly turned my head to look out the window at the view. Suddenly, Chloe leaned in close to my ear and whispered, "We're at the top." Huh. Before I could process what was happening, I felt Chloe's hand take mine. "You?" I only managed to get out one word before the rest were silenced by her face, now just inches from mine. She looked at me, her ears turning redder by the second, and she started to stammer. "Should we also be together forever?" I looked down and tried to pull my hand away, but her grip was too tight. I met her gaze again. I couldn't see my own face, but I could feel it burning hot. "Okay, yes." Almost instantly, her face started moving closer to mine, until I felt the warm touch of her lips on mine. I don't know how long we kissed before Chloe finally pushed me away, her face completely flushed, unable to speak. I don't even remember how we got off the Ferris wheel. I just remember that when Leo got off, he looked at Chloe's face in surprise. "Sis, did you eat something spicy? Why are your lips all swollen?" "Shut up." Leo's comment made Chloe's face burn with embarrassment. Leo looked at me, hurt and confused. After that day, I stopped going to Chloe's house to tutor. My mom was discharged from the hospital, and she brought home the doctor she'd been chasing. At least now I wouldn't be alone in that big house anymore. Looking back, I still don't know what possessed me to agree that day. Now, I didn't know how to face her. I started avoiding her on campus, although I could always feel her eyes on me during class. What exactly were Chloe and I now? While I was playing basketball, my wound reopened. I hadn't been to the hospital more than once a year before this, but now it felt like I was living there. The doctor glanced at me. "You're awake." Before I could react, he turned and shouted towards the door. "You can come in now, he's awake." The doctor finished changing my dressing and closed the door on his way out. Chloe walked in, a rare expression of concern on her face. "Are you feeling any better?" I shook my head, almost on the verge of tears. "No, my whole body hurts. My head hurts, my leg hurts." The moment I said it, I regretted it. Why did I sound like I was whining? Chloe looked at me with pity and gently stroked my head. "It's okay. I already called your mom. She'll be here soon. Thanks." A mischievous smile played on her lips. "You're welcome, hubby. I call you that all the time online, and you never complain." I quickly pulled the blanket over my head. This was so embarrassing I could die. "You knew who I was, and you didn't say anything?" A firm hand yanked the blanket off my face. She was looking at me like a predator eyeing its prey. "I told you I'd find you, and you said that when I did, we could have kisses and cuddles." Chloe looked at me with a hurt expression, as if I had broken a promise. I was cornered. We already kissed. On the Ferris wheel. The memory of that day came flooding back, and my face grew hot again. "That one doesn't count. I hadn't officially found you yet." I looked at her like she was a delinquent. I covered my mouth firmly with my hand, signaling that it was out of the question. "I was the one who brought you to the hospital this time. Don't you think you should thank me?" I shook my head, my hand still over my mouth. "I just woke up. I have no energy." Maybe next time. The moment I saw her mischievous grin, I had a very bad feeling. It's okay. I'll help myself. She grabbed me and started prying my hand away from my mouth. I tried to push her away with my other hand, but I was too weak. I couldn't resist. I closed my eyes and surrendered to my fate. It was inevitable. Looking at my swollen lips, I almost cried. Chloe wiped her mouth, looking satisfied and wanting more. Hubby, the kissing is done. When you're all better, we can move on to the cuddles. I looked at Chloe helplessly. I had no energy left to argue. Chloe looked down at me condescendingly. Hubby, we're getting married after graduation. The doctor said you can be discharged today. You're coming home with me. And so I did. I stood there holding my bouquet, listening as the officiant recited the vows to Chloe beside me. That day, I heard the most beautiful words in the world. Ethan, if my life were a poem, you would be on its title page, and the rest of our lives would be the verses that follow. When one reads a book of poetry, they carry the sentiment of the title page through every verse. I will carry my love for you, written on that first page, through all the days of our lives. On the second morning of our marriage, I woke up freezing. It was late autumn, and the temperature dropped significantly after midnight, because the first half of our night had been rather heated. We had forgotten to close the window before falling asleep. The Lowy blanket was haphazardly wrapped around Chloe, inside out, with only the tag dangling on the outside. Things had been so intense last night that Chloe hadn't even had a chance to take off her makeup. It was now completely smudged, but she was so beautiful that a little smudged makeup couldn't possibly detract from her looks. Her lips were pouted and her brow was furrowed, as if she were having a bad dream. I got up, closed the window, and was about to get out of bed to make breakfast. I watched Chloe for a long moment, and once I was sure she was still asleep, I leaned in to kiss her. Just as I was inches from her face, Chloe's sleepy eyes suddenly fluttered open. The blanket she was lying on was suddenly thrown over my head. Just as I was about to pull it off, I felt a sharp pain in my stomach. I lost my balance and fell flat on my back on the floor. By the time I got the blanket off my head, Chloe was already dressed. She avoided my gaze, her cheeks turning a visible shade of red. Ethan, you pervert. I'm not even dressed yet, and you're already trying to. I was speechless. Excuse me, do you have amnesia? We're married. She pouted dismissively. I don't care. I'm not used to it yet. In my mind, you're still a pervert. I picked up the blanket from the floor and tossed it into the laundry basket. All right. I wonder which pervert was the one who wouldn't let me sleep last night. Chloe's face turned so red it looked like it might burst. You're lying. You were the one who wouldn't let me sleep. Do you have any idea how tired I was? You're the one who said just once. Did you keep your word? I waved my hand dismissively. What's past is past. You should be all recovered by now, right? I gave her a wicked grin, which sent her scrambling to the far side of the bed. Just then, there was a knock on the door. My mom's voice was filled with an indescribable excitement. Chloe, Ethan, are you two awake? Breakfast is ready, come on out. The two of us in the room fell silent. Chloe said awkwardly, no way. Do you think our mom heard what I just said? I didn't say anything, just scooped Chloe up into my arms. You were the one shouting just now. She buried her face in my chest, one hand clutching my shirt. I've been so embarrassed this morning, and it's all your fault. Why are you interrupting? I said. I wasn't finished. Chloe looked at me with a look of pure, innocent confusion. What else were you going to say? You weren't just loud just now, I said. There was also last night. Chloe mercilessly bit down on my shoulder. You pervert. I'm going to kill you, Ethan. I laughed. 2 weeks later was the anniversary of my dad's death. Every year around this time, my mom would become incredibly busy. She would buy paper offerings, spirit money, paper effigies, mountains of gold and silver. She would buy almost every kind of burnable funeral offering available. There was enough to stock a small funeral supply shop. Your father was a good man, she would say. He didn't earn much, and he never wanted to spend my money. Now, I can buy him more, and he won't be able to refuse. As she spoke, her tears would fall onto the stacks of spirit money, soaking through several layers. I used to think that in a way, it was like my dad was wiping away her tears. But not this year. This year, my mom was unusually quiet. None of the usual paper offerings appeared. In the days leading up to the anniversary, she barely ate or slept. She would just stare blankly at the calendar for hours. I knew. She hadn't forgotten the anniversary of my dad's death. She was just afraid. Afraid that the doctor would be upset. Was it possible that the dead are destined to be forgotten by the living? I thought back. My mom met my dad when she was 25. I don't know if it was a rebellious phase that came on too late, or maybe it was just her insatiable curiosity. During that time, my mom had a passion for raising all sorts of bizarre creatures as pets. Everything from centipedes to snakes. She'd raise a whole brood of them at once. After that, My grandparents pretty much washed their hands of her. They were both terrified of snakes, so they wouldn't even dare set foot inside her house. The turning point came when, one day, while my mom was feeding her snakes, she noticed something. One of them was missing, so she immediately dialed 911. And my dad was part of the team that responded. He was the one who got the assignment. My dad didn't know whether to laugh or cry. A whole team searched for an hour before finally finding the little runaway green snake in a crack under the bed. If you're so scared of them, why do you keep them as pets? My dad's casual remark unexpectedly annoyed my mom. My mom grumbled a thank you and petulantly pushed my dad out the door. My dad had just gotten back to the station when the emergency line rang again. Hello, my snake got out again. Could you please? As soon as he recognized my mom's voice, my dad hung up and rushed back over. My mom was standing in the hallway under a flickering fluorescent light, her figure looking lonely and forlorn. You've got to be kidding me. You just got it back and you let it escape again. My mom stammered, clearly terrified. I didn't let it go. I put that one back in the glass tank, but when I counted them, I realized another one was missing. My dad was exasperated. The second one probably escaped while we were looking for the first one. After another half hour of searching, they finally found the other little green snake hidden underneath the mattress. My dad suppressed a laugh. You two almost ended up sleeping in the same bed. My dad sensed something wasn't right, so he carefully inspected the glass tank where she kept the snakes. Sure enough, there was a hard-to-spot crack in the bottom right corner. That explained why the two smallest snakes had been able to slip out so easily. My dad found some tape in my mom's apartment and patched up the hole. You should probably get a new tank tomorrow, otherwise one of the bigger ones might get out. My mom, who had just started to relax, was instantly on edge again. I'm scared. My dad was getting ready to leave. It's fine, I've patched the hole. But then, my mom grabbed his hand. His whole team tried to reason with her for ages. But my mom absolutely refused to let go. In the end, they left my dad behind, even though he wasn't on the night shift. The whole ordeal only came to an end the next day after she got a new glass tank. After that, my mom insisted on presenting my dad with a commendation banner at the fire station. But on her way back, she got into a car accident. And once again, my dad was the one who rescued her from the wreck. Since my grandparents still wouldn't dare enter my mom's apartment, my mom found herself in the awkward position of having no one to look after her. Of course, it wasn't like she couldn't afford a nurse or a caretaker, but her target was my dad. In the end, my mom won my dad's sympathy by painting herself as a poor, helpless woman with no one to care for her. After 2 weeks of him taking care of her, they officially got together. But their happiness didn't last. When I was 10, my dad died in that explosion. The memory still stung. The roar of the Ferrari cut through the morning birdsong as it drove into the city's most exclusive cemetery. A single plot here cost more than a house in a smaller city. Chloe, wearing a long black dress, followed closely behind me. The morning mist hadn't yet burned off, and a chill seeped into our bones. I took off my black suit jacket and draped it over Chloe's shoulders. It's cold out. Why did you wear so little? Chloe's glistening eyes were filled with tenderness. The next moment, she nestled into my embrace. Then I'll just get closer to you, she murmured. That way, we'll both be warm. I took her hand in mine. It was as cool as marble, like a perfectly cut gemstone. We walked on in silence. We stopped in front of the headstone halfway up the hill. The yellow chrysanthemums and white roses from the last visit had withered to dust. But my mother's tears were nowhere to be found this year. I only remembered her grief-stricken eyes, which had seemed bottomless. The roar of a Porsche echoed up the hill. My mom, dressed all in black and holding a bouquet of fresh flowers, walked up to us. Well, look at you, rushing up here so fast without even calling me. I was at a loss for words. I was just worried. There wouldn't be room for you in the Ferrari. My mom shot me a glare. I can't rely on you for anything. I had to have the doctor drive me. I glanced back down the hill. Inside the Porsche, the doctor was waving up at me. I smiled faintly. For the living, the dead achieve a kind of immortality, one that is held in the heart, but not often spoken of. I had often wondered, back when I was ambushed at the karaoke bar, how exactly had I been rescued? It wasn't until that day on the basketball court that I finally got the answer. My opponent was the university team's captain, Alex Anderson. This was before Chloe and I were married. I was playing, and she was on the sidelines, cheering me on. Alex asked casually, "So, are you all healed up?" I was surprised. "Are you talking to me?" He looked puzzled, but he didn't let up on his dribbling. "Yeah. Weren't you the one who got jumped at that karaoke bar?" I was stunned. "How did you know about that?" Taking advantage of my distraction, Alex shot a perfect three-pointer. "Nice shot." From the sidelines, Chloe cheered even louder. "Go, Ethan, go." That made me mad. Hey, that was a cheap shot. He just grinned. What's wrong with letting your savior score a three-pointer? It suddenly clicked. You were the one who saved me. I should have known better than to believe Chloe's story. I knew it. There was no way she could have gotten me out of there by herself with just a broken arm. Yeah, man. Do you have any idea how bad it was? I didn't interrupt, letting him continue. Chloe called me that day, said she needed me to go with her to a karaoke bar to beat someone up. I asked her who, and she just said it was some scumbag. I wiped a bead of cold sweat from my forehead. Damn, she wasn't talking about me when she said scumbag, was she? And then, you just went. Alex gestured for me to keep my voice down. Yeah, so I went. When I got there, I found you on the ground, and some blonde dude was about to smash you over the head. I gestured for him to skip that part. It was too embarrassing to relive. And then, there was no and then. Before I could even react, Chloe threw herself on top of you to shield you. I felt my eyes start to well up. I finally understood how Chloe had broken her arm. The second I saw my little sister get hit, I just snapped. By the time the cops arrived, I'd already taken care of all of them. Chloe Anderson, Alex Anderson. So they were brother and sister. Alex clapped me on the shoulder. Don't let her Ice Queen act fool you. My sister gets jealous easier than anyone. So don't you ever give me a reason to hit you, you hear me? I followed his gaze. Some guy had snuck up next to Chloe. I tossed the ball to Alex and hurried over. Chloe, I've had a crush on you for a long time. This is for you. Chloe was frowning, but her expression softened slightly when she saw me approaching. I stepped between them, pushing the guy's outstretched hand away. Sorry, but I'll be the one buying my girlfriend gifts. As the setting sun hit the Ice Queen, a faint blush spread across Chloe's cheeks. Who the hell are you, man? Are you crazy? You think Chloe would ever be into you? Has she even acknowledged you? And you're already calling her your girlfriend? She wouldn't say yes to you in a million years. I was taking a sip of water, and hearing that, I did a spit take. Chloe hadn't even had time to react. Before she could, I wrapped my arm around her waist. Her panicked expression melted into a shy one, and I pressed my lips against hers. The entire world seemed to fall silent. My actions drew the attention of everyone else on the court. No way. The Ice Princess Chloe Anderson has a boyfriend. Isn't that the guy who was talking trash about her? My heart is broken. We never even dated, but I feel like I just got dumped. I pulled away. I snatched the gift out of the guy's hand. Then I threw a wad of cash at him. Chloe Anderson, will you be my girlfriend? I will.